The alien council room was filled with loud laughter. Admiral Kexathera pointed at the big screen showing human ships coming near their space. 17 small ships moved slowly toward the line between alien and human territory. "Look at these. Old ships," said Commander Veltok with a mean smile. His 4 eyes shined with fun as he made fun of the humans. "Their ships are made of simple metal. No fancy shields, no special engines. How did such stupid creatures even learn to fly between stars?" Fleet Admiral Zorketh sat on his crystal chair and looked at the human ships with hate. The Zephyrians had been the bosses of this part of space for 3,000 years. Their ships had powerful guns that could melt big rocks in space. Their ship walls were made of special metal that could become invisible. Their minds were connected by special computers that let them work together perfectly. "Our spies tell us these humans call their group Task Force Liberty," Kexathera said in a voice full of hate. "They say they want to come here for peaceful talks and trade." The whole council laughed even louder. Trade? With the great Zephyrian Empire? The idea was crazy and insulting. "Their biggest ship is only 800 meters long," said Science Minister Quindar as he studied his computer. "Our smallest warship is twice that big, and look at their power. They still use fusion reactors. Fusion. We stopped using such old technology thousands of years ago." The Zephyrians kept laughing and pointing at the screen. They counted the human ships over and over, amazed that such a small group would dare come to their space. Some aliens took pictures to show their friends later. Others made jokes about how easy it would be to destroy the humans. "Their ships look like metal boxes with engines stuck on the back," laughed another council member. "Do they even have weapons? I cannot see any big guns on those ships." "Maybe they plan to ram us," joked Veltok, making everyone laugh harder. "Their ships are so slow we could have lunch before they reach us." Meanwhile, on the human ship UNS Defiance, Captain Jake Morrison stood on his bridge watching the huge alien ship in front of them. It was bigger than a city and covered in strange lights, but Morrison's face stayed calm. He had seen scary things before. Behind him, Lieutenant Lisa Park worked at the communications station. Commander Pete Collins watched the weapons and defense systems. The bridge was quiet and serious, very different from the laughing aliens. "Sir, we are getting a message from them," Park said. "They are sending it on all radio channels and they are not even trying to hide it." Morrison nodded. "Let me hear it." The alien admiral appeared on their main screen. Her face looked mean and scary. "Stupid human ships, you have come into Zephyrian space without asking. Your weak fleet must give up now or we will destroy you all." The alien kept talking for several minutes. She told them about their amazing weapons that could bend space and time. She described shields that could make ships disappear. She bragged about guns that could shoot through anything. Morrison listened without moving. When the alien finished talking, he said, "Lisa, open our channel." "Channel ready, sir. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Nations Starfleet. We came here under the peace treaties for friendly talks. We do not want to fight. We ask for safe travel so we can talk peacefully." The aliens laughed even more when they heard this. Peace treaties. They had never met any species that wanted to talk instead of fight. In their experience, only the strong survived in space. When the call ended, Morrison turned to look at his crew. His bridge was simple and clean. No fancy crystals or bright lights like the alien ships. Everything was built to work well, not to look pretty. "Pete, how are we doing?" Morrison asked. Collins looked at his screens. "All 17 ships are ready, sir. Everyone is staying in formation like you ordered." Morrison studied the battle map showing both groups of ships, 17 human ships against 43 alien vessels. The numbers looked very bad for the humans. The aliens clearly thought it would be an easy fight. But the aliens did not know the truth about human ships. Each ship had fought in many wars. Every captain had learned to fight in the terrible colony wars, where only the smart and tough survived. Every crew member had trained in conditions that would kill most other creatures. Every ship was built with one simple idea. When everything breaks, keep fighting. The human ships looked simple on the outside, but inside they were full of backup systems. If one engine broke, there were 2 more. If the main computer died, there were 3 others ready to take over. If the hull got holes in it, the crew could fix it while still fighting. Morrison had fought pirates near Jupiter's moons. Collins had survived the siege of Mars Station. Park had been in the battle for the asteroid mines. Every person on every human ship had real battle experience. The aliens saw old-looking metal ships and thought the humans were weak. They did not know that these ships had been tested in real wars. They did not know that human engineers built things to last and keep working when everything went wrong. "Sir, the aliens are moving into attack formation," Collins reported. Morrison watched the alien ships spread out like hunters surrounding prey. Their ships were beautiful and deadly, covered in smooth armor and powerful weapons. They moved with perfect coordination, like dancers performing a deadly ballet. "All ships prepare for possible combat," Morrison ordered. "But remember, we are here for peace talks. Do not fire unless they fire first." Across the 17 human ships, crews went to battle stations, but they did this quietly and professionally. No shouting, no panic, no fear. Just people doing their jobs, because they had done these jobs many times before. The aliens continued to laugh and make jokes as they got ready to destroy what they thought were primitive ships. They had no idea they were about to learn a very important lesson about humans. They were about to discover that the most dangerous enemy is the one you underestimate. 3 long hours passed with both fleets staring at each other across empty space. The alien ships had moved into what they thought was a scary formation. Their huge battleships made a wall of guns pointed at the humans. Their smaller ships flew back and forth like sharks swimming around wounded fish. Admiral Zorketh was getting angry. These stupid humans would not give up. They clearly did not understand how much trouble they were in. Maybe it was time to show them what Zephyrian weapons could do. "Point our guns at their first ship," he told his crew. "Use low power. We will break their engines and show them how useless fighting us would be." The alien battleship Eternal Dominion turned its biggest guns toward the UNS Defiance. Purple energy started building up in the weapons. These guns could punch holes through thick metal walls like they were paper. On the Defiance, red warning lights began flashing and alarms started beeping. "Sir, the big alien ship is getting ready to shoot," Collins said. His voice stayed calm. Even though they were in great danger, Morrison's face did not change. He had been in bad situations before. "All ships, start Protocol 7. Lisa, send one last peaceful message." "Sir, Protocol 7 is our battle mode," Collins said with worry in his voice. "I know exactly what it is, Commander." Lisa's hands moved quickly over her controls. "Message sent, sir. The aliens are not answering." Morrison watched the alien ship's energy build up to dangerous levels. "All ships do Protocol 7 now. This is Morrison giving the order." On all 17 human ships, the crews moved fast and smooth like they had practiced this many times. Metal covers slammed shut over the windows. Extra armor plates slid over the hull. Backup computers turned on. Most important of all, each ship finally showed what it could really do. The first alien attack came like a bright purple lightning bolt that hit the Defiance right in the middle. The blast should have destroyed most ships, but the human vessel just shook a little and kept flying. Admiral Zorketh stared at his computer screen with confusion and growing fear. "Tell me why their ship is still working," he demanded. "Sir, their hull soaked up 90% of our weapon's power," his officer replied with shock in his voice. "Our scans show almost no damage at all." The aliens did not know that human war technology was completely different from theirs. While the Zephyrians made fancy energy weapons and special metals, humans had learned the art of getting hit hard and surviving. The Defiance's hull was not just steel. It was made of many different materials put together to soak up, bounce away, and spread out energy attacks. Every human ship was built with one simple idea: expect everything to break and have a backup plan. They had extra engines, spare computers, and repair teams that could fix important systems while still fighting. The alien ships were beautiful and deadly, but they were built to look good and scare enemies. The human ships were ugly and tough, built to take punishment and keep fighting. "Sir, the humans are calling us," the Zephyrian communications officer said with a shaking voice. Morrison appeared on their screen again, but he looked different now. His friendly diplomat face was gone. His eyes were hard and cold. His voice carried the sound of a man who had fought many wars and won them all. Zephyrian ships, you have started a war with the United Nations Starfleet. You have 30 seconds to turn off your weapons and get ready to hear our terms. This is your only warning. The Alien Council started laughing again, but this time it sounded forced and nervous. How could 17 old ships threaten their mighty fleet? But some of the aliens were starting to worry. Why had their best weapon barely scratched the human ship? Admiral Zorketh was too proud to back down now. He had bragged to his empire about destroying these primitive humans. If he stopped now, he would look weak and foolish. All ships, fire everything we have, he ordered. What happened next would be remembered in alien military schools for hundreds of years. It would be taught as the worst mistake any admiral had ever made. The aliens were about to learn that humans were not primitive at all. They were something much more dangerous. The 17 human ships had been holding back, hoping for peace. But now the aliens had fired first. Now the humans could fight back with everything they had. And what they had was the result of thousands of years of fighting each other. Every human ship captain had commanded vessels in real wars. Every crew member had trained for battle since they were children. Every weapon and system had been tested in actual combat against real enemies who were trying to kill them. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had something better. They had experience. They had the knowledge that comes from fighting, for survival against impossible odds and winning anyway. Morrison's voice came across all radio channels, reaching every ship in both fleets. All human ships, the aliens have chosen war. Show them what Earth's children can do. In the next few minutes, the Zephyrian Empire would learn why humans had fought their way from one small planet to the stars. They would discover that the most dangerous enemy is not the one with the best weapons, but the one who refuses to give up. The full attack from the alien fleet lit up space like a giant fireworks show. Dozens of energy beams, hot plasma streams, and strange particle weapons all hit the human ships at the same time. The aliens expected to see the primitive human vessels, torn apart like paper. Instead, they watched in shock and growing fear as the human ships took the hits and kept fighting. The UNS Defiance got hit by 3 different battleships at once. Parts of its hull glowed white-hot from the heat. Metal armor bent and broke off into space. Several sections lost air and had to be sealed. But the ship stayed in one piece, kept working, and was still very much ready to fight back. "Tell me, how bad the damage is," Morrison called out as his bridge shook from another big hit. "Front armor is broken. Sections 12 through 15 are sealed because of hull holes," Collins reported while holding on to his station. "Engines working at 90%, weapons fully ready. Medical team says 14 people are hurt, but nobody is dead." Morrison nodded. The Defiance had been hit harder during training exercises back home. All ships shoot back, hit their command ships first. What the aliens saw next changed everything they thought they knew about fighting in space. The human ships did not use fancy energy weapons or amazing technology. Instead, they used something much more deadly. Big chunks of metal shot out at incredible speeds. Commander Pete Collins ran the counterattack from his station. "Target the big battleship. Firing solution ready." The Defiance's main gun was not an energy weapon at all. It was a giant magnetic launcher that could shoot a tungsten rod weighing several tons at 12% of light speed. The metal rod was invisible to most sensors until the moment it hit its target. The alien battleship Eternal Dominion simply disappeared. The impact released energy like a small nuclear bomb, and the alien ship's fancy hull materials could not protect against simple, devastating physics. All across the alien fleet, similar scenes of destruction happened. The human ships fired together, in perfect timing. Their weapons were not built to look pretty but to destroy things completely. Each metal rod was followed by others, creating a wall of death that the alien shields could not stop. Admiral Zorketh watched in disbelief as 5 of his biggest battleships were destroyed in the first minute of real fighting. "How can this be possible? Our spies said they were primitive." "Sir, our analysis shows they are using simple kinetic weapons, but at speeds we did not think were possible with their technology," his science officer reported with fear in his voice. What the aliens did not understand was human military thinking. While they had spent thousands of years making perfect energy shields and exotic weapons, humans had focused on making things that worked well in the worst possible situations. Their ships were built extra strong, their weapons were simple but incredibly effective, and their crews were trained to fight even when everything was breaking down. Captain Morrison directed the battle with calm control. "Lisa, open channels to all our ship commanders." 17 voices answered at once. The captains of the other human ships. Each was a veteran of many battles, each ship a proven weapon of war. "Do pattern Delta," Morrison ordered. "Hit their command ships first. Show them why you never pick fights with humans." The human fleet began to move in a pattern that looked random to the aliens but was actually a carefully planned dance of destruction. Ships would come out from behind cover, fire devastating shots, and disappear again before the aliens could shoot back properly. Captain Amy Rodriguez took her destroyer UNS Valiant on a high-speed attack run past 3 alien cruisers. Her ship's hull was scarred from multiple hits, but her weapons kept firing. Her kinetic cannons punched through the aliens' fancy armor like it was made of thin paper. Captain Tony Martinez commanded the UNS Resolute through a storm of plasma fire that should have destroyed his ship 3 times over. Instead, his ship's backup systems kept it fighting while his crew worked miracles in the engine room to keep the weapons working. Captain Ben Cooper of the UNS Warrior led his ship in a spinning attack that confused the alien gunners. His ship took dozens of hits but kept moving and shooting. Every time the aliens thought they had him trapped, he would appear somewhere else and destroy another of their ships. Captain Linda Hayes commanded the UNS Thunder in a head-on charge against 2 alien dreadnoughts. Her ship's front armor was almost gone, but she kept flying straight at them while her guns never stopped firing. The aliens could not believe that anyone would be so brave and crazy. The aliens had amazing technology, but humans had something more valuable: experience earned through blood and determination. Every human ship had been tested in real wars. Every crew had faced impossible odds before and won. Every captain knew that giving up was never an option. Captain Steve Miller took the UNS Lightning through an asteroid field while being chased by 5 alien ships. He used the rocks as cover and shields, popping out to fire and then hiding again. The aliens crashed into the asteroids trying to follow him, while he picked them off one by one. Captain Karen Davis commanded the UNS Storm in a battle against 3 alien cruisers at once. Her ship was outnumbered and outgunned, but she used tactics learned in the colony wars. She made the aliens chase her into a trap where 2 other human ships were waiting. The human captains talked to each other during the battle, sharing information and coordinating attacks. They had fought together before and knew each other's styles. When one ship got in trouble, others would come to help without being asked. Captain Rick Johnson of the UNS Fury was surrounded by 4 alien ships when his engines got damaged. Immediately, Captain Sarah Brown in the UNS Rage and Captain Mike Wilson in the UNS Steel came racing to help him. Together, the 3 ships destroyed all 4 alien attackers. As the battle continued, it became clear that the 17 human ships were not just holding their own against superior numbers, they were winning. The aliens had started with 43 ships. Now they were down to 25 and losing more every minute. The Zephyrians had thought this would be an easy victory against primitive ships. Instead, they were getting a lesson in what happened when you fought people who had been fighting wars for thousands of years. The humans were not just better fighters. They were smarter, tougher, and more determined. They never gave up no matter how bad things looked. And most importantly, they fought as one united force instead of individual ships trying to show off. Admiral Zorketh realized with growing horror that his technologically superior fleet was being destroyed by ships he had laughed at just hours before. The battle had been going on for 2 hours when Admiral Zorketh made the hardest choice of his long career. His fleet had lost 18 ships, including 3 of his biggest battleships. The humans had only lost 2 ships, and even those had fought until the very end. Their crews had escaped safely just before their ships finally broke apart from too much damage. "Sir, the humans want to talk to us," his aide said with a shaking voice. Zorketh looked at his battle screen. His remaining 25 ships faced 15 human vessels that showed no signs of wanting to stop fighting. The human ships were all damaged and scarred, but they kept their weapons pointed at the aliens. Every alien ship had holes and burns from the human attacks, and several were barely able to fly. Let them talk. Captain Morrison appeared on the screen again. His uniform was torn and dirty. There was blood on his head where flying metal had hit him during the battle, but his eyes were still calm and determined, like a man who would never give up. Admiral Zorketh, I think that is your name, Morrison said in a steady voice. I am ready to accept your surrender. The words hit the alien commander like a punch to the stomach. Surrender? His technologically superior fleet surrender to these primitive humans? It seemed impossible. You cannot be serious, Zorketh replied, with shock. We still have more ships than you. Morrison's face did not change. Admiral, in the last 2 hours you have learned something important about humanity. We do not build the prettiest ships in space. We do not have the most advanced technology. We certainly do not have the biggest fleet. But we have something else that you do not. And what is that? We have been fighting each other for thousands of years. Every human ship captain has commanded vessels in real combat. Every crew member has been training for war since they were children. Every piece of equipment on these ships has been tested in actual battles where people were trying to kill us. Morrison paused to let that sink in. We are not explorers playing at being warriors, Admiral. We are warriors who happen to be exploring space. The communication channel was quiet for long moments. Around the alien admiral, his officers watched their computer screens with growing worry. The human ships stayed in perfect formation despite their damage. Their weapons were still powered and ready. They looked ready to keep fighting no matter what. Commander Veltok, who had laughed at the human fleet just hours before, spoke quietly. Sir, their battle coordination is unlike anything we have ever seen. They fight as one single unit, each ship helping the others. Our ships are individually better, but their fleet works together with perfect timing. Morrison continued talking. We came here wanting peace, Admiral. We still prefer that choice, but if you force us to continue this fight, we will. Human history is full of stories about small forces beating larger ones through determination, smart tactics, and the willingness to never give up. Today, you have become part of that history. Admiral Zorketh studied the human captain's face on his screen. There was no bragging, no threats, just a simple statement of fact. These humans would fight until their ships were destroyed and their crews were dead. And they would take as many aliens with them as possible. For the first time, in his long military career, the alien admiral felt something he had never experienced before. He felt respect for an enemy. What peace terms do you want? Zorketh asked finally. Morrison's expression became a little softer. Both fleets go back to where they came from. We create a neutral zone between our territories for future talks, and you recognize that humanity has the right to exist in this galaxy alongside your empire. The terms were surprisingly fair given the battle situation. A human victory could have demanded much more. They could have asked for territory, money, or technology. Instead, they just wanted to be left alone and treated with respect. And if we refuse your terms? Morrison's smile was grim but not mean. Then we keep fighting until one of our fleets is completely destroyed. But Admiral, I should tell you something important. This task force, we call it an exploration group. This is what we sent to introduce ourselves to our new neighbors. The meaning was clear as daylight. If this was how humans introduced themselves, what would they send if they were truly angry? What would happen if the full human military came looking for revenge? Captain Morrison continued. Every human ship out here is volunteer crew. We have families back home, planets full of people who care about us. If we do not come back, they will send more ships to find out why, and those ships will not be as friendly as we have been. Admiral Zorketh looked at his tactical display one more time. His proud fleet, the terror of a dozen star systems, had been fought to a standstill by 17 human ships that his intelligence had called primitive and weak. Very well, Captain Morrison, we accept your terms. As the two fleets began moving away from each other, Emergency messages went out across all alien communication networks. The message was simple but would change galactic politics forever. Do not underestimate the humans. They are not what they appear to be. Captain Morrison stood on his battle-damaged bridge, watching the alien ships retreat into the distance. Lieutenant Lisa Park came up to him with a damage report in her hands. "Sir, repairs will take weeks. Half our armor plating needs to be replaced, and we have hull holes on 6 decks. Morrison nodded. "Any word from the other ships?" "All captains report similar damage but no loss of fighting ability. Captain Rodriguez says the Valiant is ready for another battle if needed." Morrison smiled. "That was humans for you. Beaten, up, bloody, but ready to keep fighting. It was what had brought them from one small world to the stars, and it was what would carry them forward to whatever challenges waited for them in the future." The UNS Defiance limped away from the battlefield, followed by its surviving fleetmates. Behind them, the aliens retreated to spread the word throughout their empire. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy, and they had earned their place through fire and determination. In the years that followed, the Battle of Neutral Zone 7 would be remembered as the moment when two civilizations learned to respect each other. The aliens never again underestimated human capability. Humans learned that sometimes the best way to make peace is to show that you are too dangerous to fight. But on that day, as both fleets went home to heal their wounds, only one truth mattered. The aliens had mocked the fleet, but they had learned it was human. And humans, as the galaxy was beginning to understand, were not to be underestimated. The war was over before it really began. Respect had been earned through fire, and peace had been won through strength.